are live.
Friends, and it is resolved now. So, welcome, dear friends, fans, viewers, sisters, and the Notre Dame family to this special online program on YouTube today, June 22nd, the anniversary of the sainthood of our foundress, Saint Julie BR. Today, her daughters will be talking about the impact of her life in our mission, ministry, in our lives. I am Sister Priscilla Aliu, your host. Today I have with me very reputable panelists, as you can see. To my right is Sister Rita Ezekwem, the principal of Notre Dame Girls Academy, Abuja. And to my left, you have Mrs. Florence Ifekwe, Associate of Notre Dame, Nigeria. And next to her is Sister Mary Precious Ugoke, the Provincial Secretary. Today, we shall be talking about the legacy of St. Julie. So I welcome you all to this discussion on this day, beautiful day that our founders had made possible for us to have a conversation like this with the world. Okay. So before we go on, some of you may say, who is this St. Julie that we are talking about today? Just a little bit of St. Julie before we go into the other aspect of her charism, mission, spirituality, and life. St. Julie, the founders of the Sisters of Notre Dame, was born in Couvilly in 1751 in a very poor family. But this girl, from her very tender age, loved God. She was in love with God, passionate about God's goodness. And so she sought to teach this God's goodness from her tender age through catechism to her peers and even to other women. And when the French Revolution came in the 1800s, she was affected. She became persecuted because of her faith. And so somehow God responded to her love for him. And she had a vision one day, and she saw the cross. And she saw the faces of different women of different races and culture surrounding this cross. And Jesus saying to her, "These are the women I will give you in an institute marked by the cross." So, February 2nd in 1804, St. Julie and two others, the co-founders, made their vows as Sisters of Notre Dame. So that's the beginning of the Sisters of Notre Dame de Namur. St. Julie lived 12 years after, and while she was a Sister of Notre Dame, because of the French Revolution and the difficulties she experienced, she was paralyzed for 22 years. But as a sister, she got her healing miraculously through the novena to the Sacred Heart of Jesus. So we as Sisters of Notre Dame have special place in the heart of the Sacred Heart because of St. Julie. So she died on April 8th, 1816. And on June 22nd, 1961, St. Julie was canonized by the Catholic Church. The church recognized the holiness of St. Julie, and she was declared to the world. And Pope Paul VI canonized her. And this is what Pope Paul VI had to say on that day of her canonization. He said, "Saintliness is a drama of love between God and the human person. We do not create it. We do not confer it. We recognize it and we proclaim it." On the topic, we are Julie, and her legacy is a gift to the world. I begin with Sister Rita. Sister Rita, you know it's not enough to just say, "I may just have St. Julie because I belong to the congregation of the Sisters of Notre Dame." There must be some qualities of St. Julie that we imbibe in our lives. So, what makes you? Hello, we continue with what we are doing again. Thank you, viewers, for coming to be with us. So, if you have missed it, we are going to start. Sorry, the network was not so good. We are trying to fix it. You know, our network. So, if you have missed it, we are going to start. Sorry, the network was not. So welcome again to this program, online live program. As you can see, we are daughters of St. Julie who are here today to talk passionately about St. Julie, the foundress of the Sisters of Notre Dame de Namur. So I welcome you, dear fans, friends, sisters, even brothers, our associates, and the entire family of Notre Dame de Namur, wherever you are watching from the world. Welcome. We welcome you warmly to this first live program on this day that we mark the anniversary of our foundress canonization. As daughters of St. Julie, we continue her legacy, this woman of faith, through her mission, through her spirituality, and through her charism. With me in the panel here today, I have very important people with me to discuss and to share this St. Julie's life. To my right, Sister Rita is the Queen, the principal of Notre Dame Girls Academy, Kuje, Abuja. And to my left, welcome, Sister.
Thank you, Sister Priscilla.
Thank you. And to my left, we have Mrs. Florence Ifekwe, a Notre Dame associate in Nigeria. You're welcome.
Thank you, Sister.
And next to her is Sister Mary Precious Ugoke, the provincial secretary. Welcome to this occasion.
Thank you, Sister Priscilla.
And I am Sister Priscilla Aliu, your host and the communications director of the Sisters of Notre Dame Nigerian Province. Please stay tuned as we continue this conversation. And to our viewers, some of us may not know who St. Julie is. So who do you say St. Julie is? So before we go into all of the conversation they are going to be having today, let me give you a synopsis of who St. Julie was. She's dead now. St. Julie was born in Couvilly in France in 1751 to a very poor family, the Billiard family. But right from her tender age, she loved God. She was in love with God, the good God. She understood who the good God was. And even in that tender age, what did she do? She sought to teach others about the good God. So she was teaching catechism, and she was teaching even the elders in the field. So when the French Revolution came, it affected her. She was even persecuted for her faith. And what happened? This little girl never gave up, even though she became paralyzed in all of this shock that she got. But the good God who knew her heart didn't let her down. So she had a vision one day, and she saw the faces of different women and culture surrounding a cross, and a voice saying to her, "These are the women, the daughters I will give you in an institute marked by the cross." And so St. Julie and two other sisters made their vows, started the congregation. February 2nd, 1804, they made their first vows. And God was kind to her that as a sister, she received the miraculous healing from all her paralysis after novena to the Sacred Heart of Jesus. So you see how interesting this woman is. And so 12 years later, in 1816, she died on April 8th. And the church canonized St. Julie on April 8th, on June 22nd, today, the anniversary of her canonization, 1969, by Pope Paul VI. And this is what Pope Paul VI had to say on the day of her canonization. He said, "Saintliness is a drama of love between God and the human person. We do not create saintliness. We do not confer it. It is recognized and it is proclaimed." These were the words of Pope Paul VI on the day of her canonization. And having just spoken about St. Julie's life, we now move straight now to our conversation. And I'm going to be beginning with Sister Rita. Sister Rita, as you know, it is not enough to say you are a daughter of St. Julie just by being a member of the congregation. There must be some traits of St. Julie that you have imbibed and you live out. So, what makes you particularly a daughter of St. Julie in the contemporary world?
Thank you, Sister Priscilla, for inviting me to this special segment. And to our viewers, I feel privileged to be part of this maiden interactive session. Yes, of course, you said that it's not enough to be a daughter of St. Julie. Yes, I'm very proud to be a daughter of St. Julie, and I am going to be 28 years in September. So, and you are asking of the values and some of the attributes of St. Julie. Yes, as a daughter of St. Julie, I've, I try all these years to live in the footsteps she set for us. As a woman of faith, her journey was a journey of relationship, sweet relationship with her good God. And the first time I came to Notre Dame, it was to hear how good is the good God. That is Ake Lebo Lebo Dieu. So I walked through that path, and at this moment, I share my life at this goodness of God in my life, the way I live as a Christian, as a religious, and most importantly, in my role as a leader, as the head of the Notre Dame Girls Academy in Kuja, and service I offer to the people of God. I continue to share that mission of goodness in the formation of mind, heart, and the character that will transform our society. It's been a wonderful years, as a sister of Notre Dame. And today, as we celebrate her canonization, I feel thrilled and I'm happy that I am part of, that I'm witnessing this, because to be a saint means that you're able to live your life on three arms of prayer, charity, and good deed to one another. So, in particular, and as regards to your question, it's not enough to be a daughter, but to follow in her footsteps. And it has guided me, following this good God, proclaiming this good God, and sharing this goodness of God to the people that I work with, I live with, and share life with. Thank you so much, Sister Priscilla.
Thank you. Thank you. Welcome, Sister Rita. That was lovely. So we go now to our associate that just right by my side, Associate Florence. What makes you a daughter of St. Julie?
Thank you, sister. It's good to be here. I will start with before being an associate. I usually see the Sisters of Notre Dame, especially Sister Marachi. I remember Sister Marachi, I can't remember her surname, the first superior I met here. One of her virtues is compassion, the way she treats people. Now, personally, my personal encounter with Sister Marachi made me to fall in love with the Sisters of Notre Dame. Now, as an associate, because associate is mostly for lay people, and we're friends of the Sisters of Notre Dame, um, the way I treat people in my daily life, the way I show compassion to people, the way I see people, I see their potentials, the way I look at people, no matter how marginalized, how lonely in this world where we see loneliness, lack of hope. As an associate, one of our goals is to bring life to people who are also dead. Dead, I mean dead in their mind, dead in the things they see, dead in their work, and also bring love among people we see in our communities. Thank you.
Thank you, Associate Florence. So we go to Sister Mary Precious. What about you? Are you a daughter of St. Julie today?
Thank you, Sister Priscilla. St. Julie's life has really touched me. And today, I must say that I am proud to be a sister of Notre Dame de Manon, as well as being proud to be I'm lucky to be a daughter of St. Julie. And for me, is a special gift. I live a life and the mission of St. Julie, making God's goodness known. I remember St. Julie, even in her suffering time, she kept saying, I can never about you. How good is the good God? I'm really touched by this virtue that somebody is suffering, somebody was suffering. And she kept saying, how good is the good? She kept saying good even in her suffering. Her strong, deep faith and trust in God and in God's goodness has really touched me. And I admire this virtue. And I know I'm a provincial secretary, but it's not just only to carry out administrative work. I meet out with many people, and this has called me to emulate this virtue in St. Julie, the virtue of simplicity and humility, hospitality. And St. Julie was a woman of, she was so much, she endured, so patient with people. And that has called me also in my work, in my ministry, to be patient with the people. Many people are, like my sister associate said, that the people are dead, not that they're dead to be buried, but to see that people are being broken. I am not to add to their pain, and that is what St. Julie is calling me and reminding me today that I am to give people hope. I am to give people peace. I am to give people attend to people in with kindness and love. I am to live the life of simplicity. I'm called today to be simple in my words and in my actions because that will give healing to people who are marginalized, who are broken. So I must say that I so much cherish the charism of the Sisters of Notre Dame, the footstep that St. Julie laid for us, and that is the simplicity and humility, likewise making God's goodness known everywhere in any situation. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sister Mary Precious. That's beautiful. All of you have spoken wonderfully well. We are proud daughters of St. Julie, so we are here to just let it out the way we feel it, the way we see it, and the way we act it in the world today. So I still come back to you before I go to the other. So, what aspect of St. Julie charism speak most powerfully to the world today, as it is the needs of the world today?
Yeah, thank you so much, sister. I love this question because if we look now that in this world, we are living in the world full of injustice, the world full of violence, violence everywhere, the world full of fear that people find it very difficult to move from one place to another. Could be because of killing, kidnapping. Nobody would like to be killed. Nobody would like to be kidnapped. But today, I will look at the aspect. If St. Julie is to be here today, I know St. Julie would love to meet with these people that are living victims of violence, people that are in IDP camp, people that are marginalized, children from who have been victims from abuse. So St. Jude would like to bring this aspect of trusting in the goodness of God. And today, St. you and I that are living in this broken world, that God is still with us. God is still with us, even in this tumultuous time, in this world that is full of violence. St. Julie is still reminding us that God is still with us, and we should not give up in saying that God is goodness. God's goodness is still with us, and He would like me and everyone to bring hope, to bring peace, as I said earlier, to bring joy. This aspect of her virtues, she would like me to bring that to this broken world, to these people who have been marginalized, because this is what this world needs at this moment. The world needs peace, and that is what St. Julie is reminding me to bring peace to people, to bring love, to bring love. I cannot just say I want to deepen my relationship with God and my neighbor, someone at my back, someone in my front, someone by my side is suffering. The person lacks my relationship. That does not make me a daughter of St. Julie, because that was not the life St. Julie lived. St. Julie, in as much as I want to deepen my relationship with God, I should also have that of my neighbor, those that I want to reach out to. I should deepen my relationship. People want, if there is a word that people want to hear, they want to hear, I love you. They want to hear that. They want to hear, oh, don't worry, courage. Century kept saying, courage, my daughter. The world has not come to an end. That is what Century wants me to give and tell people today. So as I'm talking to myself, my brothers and my sisters, my viewers, I'm also encouraging you to go outside there and join me. Let us make this world a better place by giving hope. It's just that the time is not there, but if I'm to talk about this, I think people are broken, they would say, oh, I am healed. Because it's what word of consolation, that is what people need today. Thank you so much, sister. Let me let me not go too much, because if I'm to speak and talk the way I feel like going into the world to tell the world, don't give up. Don't give up. We shouldn't give up. In this difficult time, we shouldn't give up. We should copy what St. Julie has said.
Thank you so much. I can see the passion alive and the interest. You know, like just we have just said, St. Julia understood suffering.
Yeah.
She lived in a tumultuous time of the French Revolution, and she knew how to go after people who were suffering.
Yeah.
And thank you so much. And this is what we do every day. Now, looking at the mission and ministry of St. Julie, I will turn now again to Sister Rita and ask her, how is your current ministry furthering the proclamation of the good God in our world today?
Yeah, thank you, Sister Priscilla, and their viewers and sisters all over the world. As the head of an institution in a learning environment, Notre Dame Girls Academy, the education we give to our girls is based on Notre Dame philosophy of education. When I talk to people, I say, we didn't just set up school to make money because everybody's going into business or school because they want to get money, but because we have special interest in the formation of young minds. And St. Julie says, I say, give them what they need for life. Our motto is educating girls for life. And what do I mean by that? Giving them what they need to be future leaders, community builders, even homemakers. As I work with girls, one of the things that I tell them often is, you are greatness and nobody. You must be that which others will copy. So, as a student of Notre Dame Girls Academy, you are by virtue of that name, you are an ambassador of the Sisters of Notre Dame and the school. So, in all of that, I try to create an environment where every individual student experiences love, experiences dignity, excellence, faith, and also lure them towards understanding fully what it means to love God, who is very good. And most in the background of the student in the school where I am at the moment, most of them come from broken homes, irrespective of the fact that they appear rich. Some have suffered a lot of neglect. And being in this ministry for over 16 years now, I also happen to be one of the safeguarding officers working with the Society of St. Patrick's. So it has helped me to understand fully what these girls need and what they need. And having been as an institution that have been in education over 200 years, it cannot be taken for granted. And it is not the same with every other secondary school. So we create opportunity for them to master skills, those skills that will help them get employment when they finish. It's not only about certificates. We also create an environment and inculcate in our learners Catholic gospel values. A lot of Protestants, a lot of pastors bring their children to the school, and you see then they are more Catholics than even the Catholics because we don't discriminate. We don't treat people differently, and because they came from diverse background, ethnic groups will give each person according to the student pledge. They say, I am responsible. It's so beautiful. I'm responsible for my actions and behaviors today. I will listen, learn. I will respect the feelings, properties, and rights of others. It is about St. Julie, the goodness of God. And then they have to also the opportunity to let them know that St. Julie had a good and wonderful relationship with her co-foundress, Francois Blind the Borden. So friendship is very good. And in friendship, you show hospitality. The Sisters of Notre Dame are known for hospitality in their simplicity. So creating this opportunity in this environment helps the girls to know that after here in this school, I go out as an ambassador of goodness, of giving life to others. And we also do what we call community service, helping them, not just people that will come out with a certificate and moving up. No, we want to see leaders that will make impact, that will make a difference in our society, and good mothers. In my previous, from the school where I headed in St. Michael's International Secondary School, Kontogora, I think there was something I did in the parish. It was also part of St. Julie's Carry teaching catechesis and working as the liturgies of the parish. The group I worked with today, my head boy is a deacon in the Archdiocese of Abuja. Two of them are in the seminary, and one of the girls she has joined us as she's now a novice of Sisters of Notre Dame, and I'm so proud because the education is not just teach ABC; it's to give them what they need for life, either as secular persons, or either as a religious, be it mothers or anything. In conclusion, is In my mission and in my ministry, we bring girls to the sacrament. We bring them to appreciate the Eucharist because Saint Julie had great devotion to the Eucharist. And it is my utmost, vision, it's my utmost, goal that every student of Notre Dame Girls Academy will have an opportunity to experience God in a unique way, just like St. Julie did. If you attend, they have to be taught the whole thing about liturgy. If you attend Mass in the school here, you will not like to go to any other place. And the students have learned that prayer life is very important. It's an integral part of their life as products of Sisters of Notre Dame. And to conclude this, it's not just the students, the staff in particular. If you come to Notre Dame Girls Academy, Kuja Abuja, the relationship between the head, the student, the staff, the parents, it is something that people long to have, people admire, because it can only be what St. Julie has said for us: the friendship, the love of God, the simplicity, and ability to follow God and trust God even during persecution, because she suffered same. Being paralyzed for 22 years is not a joke. And so my students know that even when you are sick, the first thing that I say, have you offered it to God? Even in that pain, you can still bear it while treatment is going on. There are some sickness that are not, that you can use medicine. So the students are happy. They talk about St. Julie, and there's a song they love. Anything about St. Julie, they are for it. And we try as much as possible to inculcate in them this love for the mission. Now, if you come to Notre Dame Girls Academy, one of the things about St. Julie they always talk about is a woman of great courage, devoted and humble, taught us how to love God and serve Him forever.
Her name is Saint Julie, the foundress of Ascending, the great congregation that cares for the poor. Her name is Saint Julie, the foundress of Ascending, the great congregation that cares for the
And because they understood, they sing this. Every time they would take time, make contributions to visit the poor, because they know it will please St. Julie very much if they attend to the needs of the poor. And then other poor, the marginalized, we pray for them, we work with them. And as students of Notre Dame, because tomorrow we may not have sisters running our school, we're going to have these young girls and the boys we are training to head schools and our mission. And I think from what I'm seeing, we're going to have a lot of them as associates. We're going to have a lot of them as good mothers and reverend sisters. Yeah. Just like my head boy, my son is now a deacon, and we are waiting for him to be ordained a priest. He will come and say mass. You can imagine, looking at them, because I told them you have a big brother who is now going to be a priest. So that day is going to be glorious in the school. So I want to thank you for this. Saint Julie, pray for us, protect us,
and bless us. Hope you are out there listening. We need more people to come online. Like us, if you are finding our conversation interesting, please like it and subscribe to our channel, and share it, and share this beautiful message of the sainthood we are celebrating today of Saint Julie, the foundress of the Sisters of Notre Dame, coming to you live from Nigeria, Abuja. Now we go to our associate, Florence. So tell us now, from your own perspective as an associate, how is your current job or ministry proclaiming God's goodness to the world?
As a teacher and as an educator, I'm also a teacher in Simon and Jude Seminary, Kuje, Abuja. And one of the virtues of a teacher is encouraging, loving, and seeing potentials in children. The seminary is a seedbed for future priests, and for you to have these values that help these children, form them as future priests and also religious leaders. And as my mom will always say, if you are not a priest, you can be a catechist. The most important thing is that you work in Father's house. So we want them also to always work in Father's house. So even religious leaders are also catechists and also priests. But one of the reasons why we have the seminary is for them to become future priests. That doesn't mean that some of them will not become fathers tomorrow. They will become married people and they will become priests and also help the church. One of the things we see in these children, potentials we see in these children, and the values we see in them, some of them are from difficult places, some of them are lonely, some of them too have been marginalized, some of them they have even lost hope. So when you look at seminarians, even after they have come out clean, we have made them fine. They are big men in the society. They are priests in the diocese. You see them tomorrow, and you wonder why they are there. It's because we have seen the good in them, and then encouraging them, helping them, being patient with them. Forming students is not only about passing exams. You form them morally, you form them intellectually, you form them emotionally. You see the good in them because when we talk about Sister Julie, we say, how good is the good God? And I just want to give you a little insight. When in my family, we call the Sisters of Notre Dame Chidima. Whenever they are coming, I was going to say, Chidima is coming. Look at Chidima in the Igbo language, we talk about good God, the good God. We always see the good in them, the potential in them all the times, even in class, educating them and giving them the values that they desire. Thank you.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. You did something recently on the what do you call it? Ladot. Do you want to say something about that? Because
Yeah.
St. Julie was very passionate about environment.
Yes.
So tell us about that.
During the Ladot Sea Week, because as an associate, I was involved in the Ladot Sea Week and also as a teacher. I'm studying environmental science here in Abuja. And we looked at the environment. St. Julie, Sister Marachi, we always tell me that St. Julie was very, very neat. Even while she was paralyzed, that she's clean. And so if you look at even the environment of the Notre Dame de Namur, whenever you come here, you see a serene environment, a clean environment. We looked at the environment as God's nature. When we look at the natural way God made everything, we say that personal cleanliness starts with you as a person, that we're not looking at the government, we're looking at ourselves, keeping the environment clean globally. And also, one of the things we looked at was recycling. Now, when you look at St. Julie's life, when she was educating young girls, she saw potentials in them. So we teach these children, or the students of the seminarians, teach them how to keep the environment and how to recycle these things. Even if here in Nigeria or in the we do not have ways of recycling, but at least the use of incinerators to burn this refuse that cannot be recycled is also important. These are one of the ways of keeping the environment clean. So as an educator and as a teacher, you make these children understand the reasons why the environment is clean, because we always say cleanliness is next to godliness, and godliness is one of the attributes of St. Julie.
Thank you so much, Associate Florence. So we now go to our community living, and this is in two parts: community as sisters and the general community living, which is the world, where we have our associates. So, Sister Rita, I come back again to you. So, what are those qualities that St. Julie had that will make a better community living today for her daughters?
Okay, thank you very much. From the letters of Saint Julie that we read and her story, there's no community that you call a community if the Holy Spirit does not dwell there. But the Holy Spirit is the one who decides. And then the community must be community of prayer. Saint Julie was a person of prayer, a woman of prayer, a deep union with God. And that's where her faith grew. She got her energy, her strength, everything in her conversation with God. And having studied some of her letters, I feel energized, and I feel, like we are getting a tonic, you know, from her way of life and the way she lived, even as a community person. So in our community, apart from the fact that we celebrate the Eucharist, which actually is the hallmark of our spirituality, that constant, being one with God and being one is like you become the tabernacle of you bear the tabernacle. Our Lady, we are told that she carries the tabernacle. She was the first person that carried the tabernacle, Jesus. So when we receive Jesus, we have that tabernacle in us, and it helps our community to see things the way God will see it. We experience hospitality in our community, service to one another. We came from different, my present community, which is Mason Joseph. We came from different backgrounds. Even if you are from one side, you came from different village. You're not from the same place. And so we all brought a gift from our families in. And looking at St. Julie and having been told and formed in her spirit and and the charism, her way of life, we now create that community. We try every day to make it living, because it has to be alive. It has to be living. If it's no longer growing, then it's no longer a community. So we share ideas. One of the things that has kept our community going is that we share meal. We don't joke with our prayer life. Our community prayer is so rich. It's not just converbal words. We pray from the heart. And in that way, it translates in the way we live in the community. We care for one another. When somebody is missing, maybe we are eating, and of course, with you, Sister Priscilla, that's a lot of time. She may be very busy with her work, maybe production. You see us, oh, she's not around. Somebody should call her. We try as much as possible to bring everybody in. At the end of everyday activities, we come back again where we find joy, where we get to renew by our strength. And it's so wonderful, that the community is a place where joy, happiness, because the life itself is anti culture, but we make it and live it because St. Julie told us, St. Julie shared with us with her life, that even in the midst of persecution, trusting in the good God, this God will direct steps, this God will show us the way, and He is the one that gives the grace to be. And that's why when we make vow, we say in the pronouncing our vow, we say we rely on the faithful love of God who inspires this vow. So it's so beautiful that we live it out in the community. And for me, living in Notre Dame community is the hallmark of being a religious in this present time. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you so much, Sister Rita. That is well said. Like they say, community is the heart of religious life. And so I heard something one time like, the original community of St. Julie was so peaceful and holy. Every sister was treated with the utmost respect, utmost love. That even when you have to correct a sister, it is done in a way that the sister does not feel threatened by anything. So may God give us that spirit to continue to witness to the world that it is possible that we may be different, but we have a center of unity, which is the good God. So I turn now to Associate Florence. You are a married woman, you have your family, you have just listened to how we try to live this life in community. So, how is the virtue of St. Julie, some of those virtues that you cherish, how are they helping you live your own family life? At least, a lot of people who are listening out, they may want to also know how. And they may also use that opportunity to attract some people who may want to be associates of the Sisters of Notre Dame. Thank you. Over to you.
Thank you, sister. Being an associate and also a married woman, um, you know, why we started talking about the sisters and calling them Chidinma. Um, so, being married is beautiful. Marriage is a beautiful thing. Mine is beautiful. I've been married to Ifike Obinna for 16 years, and it has been wonderful. And being an associate of Notre Dame also helped me because what we saw in the Reverend Sisters, why I'm always using Sister Marachi, because Sister Marachi came into our lives at the beginning of our marriage. She told us about arguing. She said in the Notre Dame, as Sisters of Notre Dame, they listen to each other. They listen to each other and they don't raise their voices. So, as a married woman, marriage makes you better. And also looking at your spouse and listening more. You know, even if you're married, you also live community life because you live with people around you. Like I take the seminary community because that is where it all started. Um, Joy, hope, and lifting others even in difficult times. So marriage helps you to see your spouse in difficult moments. There are difficult moments in marriage. That's why I always say marriage is not a bed of roses. But my mother would say it's a bed of roses, depending on how you want to make your own bed to be. Some people's bed is filled with thorns, but make yours to be roses all through. Because when you make it roses, you live longer than you look at it, and the parties involved are loved equally without looking at the other parts of them, because we talk about imperfection in marriage. We look at the two and making them perfect in the way God wants it to be. Because when you look at where God said that the man is the head of the woman, the woman is submissive, and that's where we talk about compassion. One of the aspects of St. Julie was compassion, living your life with love, and also one of is also making room for the others, making room for the other person, looking at the other person, overcoming those difficulties, and also making your spouse feel safe. So, as a married person living in a community and community life, and also living in the home as an associate, because I also love people to experience marriage. Marriage is beautiful, mine is beautiful. So, even as an associate, those who are not married, I would love them to live this community life, because even as a married person, you find yourself in large communities. Like if you come to the seminary, it's large. We have over 38 to 48 families living there, and then you live in a large place. So definitely you must learn how to lift others up and also live with your spouse accordingly. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Associate Florence. That's beautiful. I love that you try to, even within your own family life, live as a community. You pray together, you share together, and you respect each other, and you make your spouse safe with you. And I think it translates to how we try to live, because we have one another as sisters of Notre Dame in community. So I come now to the aspect of prayer and spirituality of Saint Julie. Julie is known as a very prayerful saint. Okay, so now for each of you, how would you say that prayer has helped to sustain your vocation and your relationship with God? So I still come back to you, Sister Rita. Thank you.
Yeah, they say the person, if you're on the right side of somebody,
Yeah.
Yes,
yeah, the
always.
person often comes to you. So thank you,
Yes.
sister. And of course, prayer is the catalyst to my vocation. It's the main thing. Without prayer, I can't be a religious. Of course, if we are not a religious, you can be. But I think for me, it's the center of my vocation, and it is tailored towards the footstep of Saint Julie. The first time when I aspired, I never knew anything about Saint Julie. So when I came for to visit, I came with a friend. Say I'm going for a retreat, and because I love prayer, I joined all the way from Lagos to Ilorin. I didn't know what was in stock for me. But when I entered, it was Uro. Most of us know, if you're from Nigeria, you will know Uro community. The moment I entered that compound, I said, this is where I belong. Even before I met Sister Helena Bonnet as the aspirant coordinator. Now that prayer aspect becomes something that I look for, even in moments of doubt, even in moments when the whole world is when I feel that the world misrepresents me, or when I feel that I'm not understood. It is it is this prayer. And I said something about the Eucharist. I have great devotion to the Eucharist. I have great devotion to the Eucharist, and it is there that I get my strength. It is there that I listen to God. And without, if I don't listen to God, I won't be able to do it better. I won't be able to serve. I won't be able to even relate in the community the way I should do that. So the prayer life is for me a catalyst to a lot that happens to that I do, and that forms me as a religious. And I'm very proud, as St. Julie one always said, he said, I turn to the good God in the moment. There's nothing, anything that St. Julie did during her time. It was always to the good God. And later, sometimes I feel, did she actually leave this house? But of course she did. It's always whatever, I hand it over to the good God. In
Yes.
every situation, is the good God. And
Exactly.
I've tried as much as possible, even as at this moment, I live in that, in that context of taking bed in the night if I have not spent some time with God. Tell Him what I have done, all my work, the day, the difficulties, and sometimes I go there, we laugh. Sometimes I go there, I quarrel with this God. I mean, I quarrel. I say, you are there looking at me. You're looking at me, and this is happening. You are there, and somebody is saying this, and you know I never did that. And by the time I sit for some time, I know God as my father listens, and he will always answer me. I see God as my father because I have those that know me very well. I have my relationship with my father is just hmm. So it's that it's that kind of relationship that I also translate to this God who is so big. And I tell my even my student, anybody, I say, this God is so big that if you know this God, you will not think of any other thing. So prayer is important, and it is what I cannot do. I cannot do without, because it forms me, it enlightens my mind, it paves way for me, and helps me in my mission because it's God's mission, not my mission. In the community, I couldn't be a sister to other if not through prayer and by listening to God and listening to God through my sister through the events of life. So thank you so much, and I share this with people that I meet, and it's been wonderful.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you. We just cannot exhaust the whole aspect of Julie and prayer. It's impossible because she was a woman of prayer.
Yeah.
And she's a saint today. Who becomes a saint without prayer? No one. So we come now to Sister uh, Very Precious. So how is your own prayer life something you know that is so dear to Saint Julie? How is it helping your vocation and relationship with God?
Thank you, sister. I don't think there is a religious without a prayer. Because St. Julie said that a religious without a prayer is just like a body without a soul. And I must say that prayer has really and is still a vital role in my life in sustaining my vocation. I must say that this religious life is not a bed of roses. It has not been easy, and even now it is not easy. But it has been prayer that has been sustaining me. Sometimes, many times, I have felt like, oh, I don't think I can continue. Sometimes the road has seemed so tough, so difficult. Even looking at my ministry, it has been so challenging. But when I look at prayer, Saint Julie, a woman of prayer, I say, if Saint Julie could make it, why can't I make it? It has been prayer. And that something touched me. I never knew it was making an impact in someone's life. I every day on my status. And a day I couldn't do that because I was down, I was sick. Only for me to get, I got a message, and the lay person was telling me, "Ah, sister, please, I didn't help her to pray today." I said, "How?" As in, and she said, because I did not post that grammar. I don't know where she she was telling me she doesn't know where I get that. I said, "Oh, that is our Fandra's thoughts every day." And she pleaded, she said, "Please, could you be posting that every day?" Because she said it helps her. That is what she uses for her prayer every day. And that challenged me. There is no day that I will not use St. Julie's word. I must reflect on that. And it has been a backbone for me. Like Sister Rita said, she said a lot about community. And there is no sister of Notre Dame or community of sisters of Notre Dame without prayer. We don't joke with prayer because it was prayer that helped Saint Julie. The name of our congregation is Sisters of Notre Dame. Notre Dame means Our Lady. We don't joke with Mary. And that is why in every community, we must pray as a community our rosary. Don't joke. Personally, I don't joke with the Eucharist or reconciliation. I don't joke with the prayer because I try to copy that from Saint Julie. Prayer has helped me to be patient. I must say that. Prayer has helped me to be simple, though I'm just a human being. I can't do, sometimes I hurt people, but prayer has really helped me to be simple, both in my words and in my actions. And I have also, I know I have helped many people also to know the importance of prayer, like our workers. Sometimes they join us during Eucharistic celebration because they know that Sisters of Notre Dame will value prayer. And also, I have said it earlier, that this world is a broken world. So I'm called to pray for the world. And I know we don't miss it in our communities. We don't miss praying for people outside there. It's prayer that shaped me and made me who I am today. And I continue to say that God has been so good. I continue to copy St. Julie's word, saying in every situation, this word should not depart from my mouth, the goodness of God.
Thank you so much, sister. You have spoken, all of you have spoken well. So now, Mrs. Ifekwe, as an associate, I know you continually do things on retreat, recollection, and a lot has been introduced to the associates to help them in their prayer life. So, what would you say now that with all of these orientations you've had as an associate, how uh, is something about St. Julie's prayer life? How is it fostering, your own married life?
Thank you, sister. As an associate, we do a lot of reflections, recollections, and integral parts of every family life. What prayer does is that prayer keeps you together. Prayer helps you forgive easily. And as an associate, during prayers, during our recollections, always all the recollections I have attended as an associate, they always keep the key or the one of the purpose of that recollection during our reflection is forgiveness. I remember always talk about forgiveness, the love of God, how God loves us, and how we should be able to forgive each other. Because I just want to tell you, sister, even as associates, it's not easy to be with different people from different walks of life and also be in their midst. As our chairman will say, if you know I have been doing, Mr. Diama will say, if you know I've been doing bad to you, just tell me now so that I can ask for your forgiveness. So
Grace.
that's why when we look at recollection and reflection, Sister Precious will always tell us, go for confession and we'll stand on the line. That is what we do. So whenever it is time, I'll always want to be part of it as far as I am available because of confession. We have the Advent retreat, the Lenten retreats, and the recollections during that time. You see yourself looking back and examining your conscience, which is very important in every person's life. So when we bring it down to married life, prayer helps you forgive easily. Yeah, we always say that marriage is beautiful, but there is one aspect of marriage that couples need to see, that is forgiveness. Because with a marriage, it's two imperfect people coming together to make it work. So forgiveness is important, and forgiveness comes with communication. Because even as associates, when we sit down, we communicate. Because everybody will just, as Sister Pressure will say your mind now, so that we'll know where we are having issues. We'll always say our mind. Say what you want to say. Don't keep it to yourself. So we bring it down to marriage, to family life, because sometimes after the recollection here, when I go home, when we are sharing what we did during the recollection, I'll tell my husband, today is a day of forgiveness. Say, is there anyone I have done so far, so that we can talk about it? And we look at the word of God, we look at the love of God, because even as married people, love is important. I mean love, trusting love, not one-sided love. We talk about trusting love, a love where we look at the other and say, yes, I really love you, even in sickness, in health, in good times and in bad times. So when you come together, even the Sisters of Notre Dame, I still see the same love. Sorry, I'm saying it here in public because I always tell people, which kind of reverend sister do you want to be? And I'll say, go to Sisters of Notre Dame. I like their type of reverend sister. When we talk about it, as somebody will say, why am I always saying? I say, at least when you see reverend sisters, you love to be with them. I say, yes, I'm not a reverend sister, but whenever I see them, I say, yeah, this is one reverend sister. Reverend. That's how we look at it. And we laugh about it, but that is how, it depends on whom you have encountered. Some people might have encountered other reverend sisters, but the Notre Dame sisters. I started with Sister Mara. I always talk about Sister Mara and Sister Precious here. We started together. I always tell her that she came for her second missionary journey. This is her second missionary journey. During her first missionary journey, we encountered Sister Precious and Sister Marachi. And so there's what we call love. That doesn't mean that there are no disputes among people. But we say, at least when you see them outside, you know that they are radiating with God's love in their hearts. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Like I told you from the beginning, we are proud daughters of St. Julie, either as sisters, as associates, and as friends, because you all are there. Our fans are our friends. So we are getting closer to the end of this program today. And now the last bit of this is just for my sisters and the associates to give their message. What will be your message? The kind of message you want to give today on this day of the sainthood remembrance of our foundress, Saint Julie BR. So I again begin, they say if you are close by. So exactly. So this is your last kind of rounding up. Rounding up, and we are so grateful to. We can see all the messages coming from good job, well done from Viasogie Claire, Sisters of Notre Dame, and another message coming from Teresa Nyabuke, our sister, saying it is amazing to know how St. Julie empowered and challenged her sisters in prayer and good works. So keep your messages coming, and as we move towards the end of this program today, and give us your generous likes and comments if you like this program. So now we listen to our panelists as they give their last message for today before we round up. Thank you, sister. So we come back to you, Sister Rita.
Thank you, Sister Priscilla. It's been an awesome time here. We started with what particularly made you a daughter of St. Julie and the ministry and what are you bringing in, and now even our prayer life and the community. So, in conclusion, I want to leave this with us that as St. Jude always said, believing in the goodness of God. So he reminds our world that God's goodness is stronger than fear, and love is stronger than division. And education of mind and the young minds and hearts remains a sacred part in transforming lives. Over and above, let us be women and men
Mhm.
of hope, of courage, and the compassion service carrying her mission into the future. Thank you
Thank,
so much.
thank you so much, Sister Rita. And we invite Associate Florence now to give us her last message to our viewers who have been patient with us, even when we had the initial glitches in starting.
Thank you very much. One of the virtues of St. Julie that I'm telling to the world today is seeing God's goodness in everything we do. Um, that is important as humans in this world filled with chaos, in this world filled with loneliness, hopelessness sometimes, but we always have our hope in God. That is important. That love rules the world. Love leads us everywhere. Love makes the world go round. And also love heals hearts of loneliness, hearts that have lost hope, hearts that have been marginalized, hearts that do not even know where the next meal will come from. One of the attributes of this Notre Dame, let me just tell the world something. You know, during the parties in Notre Dame here, I always ask if they are feeding millions of people because they make you see what love is when they even bring out the food. The meal here is very, very good, if assumptions meal. But one of the things we look at is love. The love of God is deep, and the love of God comes from humans like us. So when we look at the love of God, we should be able, as an associate, humans that we are, even if we're not associates, as far as we love St. Julie, we look at this saint and we look at her as our role model because she's also one of my role model. Is her love is deep, and her love for God helps her to look at humans. She always, when you look at words, actions, not words, actions, not words. That's one of St. Julie's values. Actions, not words. She shows it with her actions. So whenever you say it is well, you also show it with action. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It's been wonderful, really wonderful. Sister Mary Precious, give your message now. And before that, I want to thank all of you who are sending us encouragement from at Jumoke Eni, good job, and St. Judy's happy in heaven, and praying for peace in the world. So keep your likes coming, share, and subscribe to this channel, Notre Dame Catholic Media. And thanks for all your support in this first live program that we are having today on the feast of St. Julie, which is her canonization. Thank you, Sister Mary Precious.
Thank you. I wish to thank our dear brothers and sisters who are watching us. Thank you so much for giving us your time. So my few lines and few words to you is know that we're in a world full of injustice and fear. But please keep your trust and hope in God very high. Saint Julie wasn't a woman of fear. She was a woman of courage. Please, I encourage all of us to be women and men of courage. Do not allow the troubles of this world and the fear to take away these beautiful virtues in you, but keep being a person of courage and prayer. Let us, as St. Julie said, continue to trust in the goodness of God. Let us join together in prayer. May we never go down in prayer, no matter what. The rosary that was a weapon for St. Julie during her own time, let the rosary be our weapon during this difficult time. That with the prayer together, we will make this world a better place. And then my assignment for you and for myself is that please, this week, just this week, reach out to someone and give the person hope, word of hope, peace, and consolation. We need kindness. We need hospitality. Let us be simple in our words and in our actions because we are already broken. Our words of actions and simplicity will heal many broken souls. Thank you so much once again, my brothers and sisters. And God bless.
Wonderful, wonderful, my panelists. You know, the messages are coming so beautifully from Eucharia Blessing. Thank you so much, dear amiable associates and sisters, from Patience. Wow, from Dorothy Chime. Well done, Sister St. Julie. That's okay, encouraging us to continue in our prayers. And from Blessing Omeje, awesome. And from Sister Teresa again, and from Sister Chidi. Good job, dear sisters. May St. Julie continue to bless and intercede for us. So the messages are coming now. So as we come to gradually the end of this program today, you will agree with me that this is just a tip of the iceberg. It's our very first pioneer live program. And of course, you know, because of the kind of data and everything in Nigeria, sometimes you have technical glitches with data. So, but thank you that you were patient with us. We didn't start exactly 12, but next time, whenever we want to start, we try our best to start. And then we have now we want to remind you that in all of we are saying, let us remember that St. Julie always wants us to trust the good God in difficult and in good times. And in a world marked by uncertainties today, let us not be discouraged. Let us be encouraged, because even herself, in her time of revolution in France, she was not discouraged. It was this time that she founded her congregation. So we must learn to trust in the goodness and providence of the good God. We must remain hopeful. We must care for one another. We must promote justice and peace in our world. And we must witness to the loving presence of the good God. Does it not interest you, viewers and friends, that St. Julie was given this charism to proclaim the goodness of God? And I think it's the Sisters of Notre Dame in the whole wide world that has this mission to proclaim the goodness of God. I've not heard of that charism again. And to see that the summation of who God is goodness. So the Sisters of Notre Dame, her associates and her friends, or all our friends, have been given this singular message to proclaim the goodness of God. So God wants you to carry his own heart to the world. So thank you once more as you have been listening to us. We invite you to subscribe to this channel, share and like, And follow us even on our Facebook, it's Sisters of Notre Dame Nigeria. So if you have not been following Sisters of Notre Dame Nigeria, please do so. And then this is Notre Dame Catholic Media, belonging to the Sisters of Notre Dame. And thank you. Remember always to say that God is good in everything, and keep on the spirit of hope, of courage, and joyfulness until we come your way next time again. Before just we close, I want to acknowledge all those who have sent in messages again right now. We have Sister Agnes Enyi. Thank you so much, sisters and associates, for the wonderful discussion. May St. Julie continue to be our mother in Jesus' name. So thank you, be inspired. I have be inspired and be again.
St. Julie's word.
Okay, St. Julie's word, and then we end with
Today.
Okay. So before we close that, we listen again to St. Julie's words. Yeah.
Okay, on this day of the feast of her canonization, St. Julie's thought for today says, saintliness is a drama of love between God and the human person. We do not create saintliness. We do not confer it. We recognize it. We proclaim it. Amor